Hello and good evening to yet another exciting episodes of global event that we do monthly basis. And as you know, I'm your host Manali Chaudhary Shengupta, and I essentially look after NDLI Club. And we do this event from NDLI platform in association with Wheels Global Foundation. And you believe me or not, today's event is going to be very exciting for all of us. The main theme of the event is what we're gonna achieve through science, or science can achieve by 2100. So we all are looking forward to this wonderful session ahead. But before we begin into the our session, our conversation with the guests and moderator, let me just give you a very short look, a brief look to NDLI and what we do. It's a National Digital Library of India, and as you can see, the name suggests that's for the entire country. We would like to have one digital library, and that is National Digital Library, and that is how the entire journey began with the concept one library for the entire country. The genesis is NDLI as a national knowledge asset serves to function as a key driving force for education, research, innovation, and also knowledge. And it is a single window platform providing learning resource that make e-learning and education accessible to all. So the main motto of NDLI to make the education system democratic by its nature, and we want to make the education accessible to every students of this country. uh, we have started this project in 2018, and third phase we are running. And during this journey we have achieved so many things, and we you can see us in NDLI platform, ndl.iitkgp.ac.in, and also www.ndl.gov.in. So what we have, as I said, it's a digital content repository. It's a digital repository. So we have 14.5 crore content, nationally licensed contents are also available with us. And user, we have 1 crore plus, and we have set up almost 7,200 plus NDLI club across India, across the country. And contents are available in 39 Indian languages out of 423 languages in NDLI, and searching available in 14 Indian languages. Contents covering various subjects, disciplines for different educational level, be it kindergarten students to PG, postgraduate, and beyond, and also for the lifelong learners. Currently, we are providing cloud hosting facility to 31 plus institutions, and contents covering, as I mentioned, that various discipline we have covered and also trying to cover in coming days. Remote assistance we have given to 150 institutions having challenges with idea conducts, engagement programs about NDLI and NDLI Club, idea service through free workshop and training sessions, talks, and webinars. So, what we are doing actually, we are giving support to you. We are giving facilities, we are providing a kind of special support, and these are the facility or support you can say that NDLI, you can have the access to this digital content through NDLI website. You have NDLI Club to conduct activities, and also institutional digital repository idea support service we are providing, digital preservation of rare documentation that is also feasible here. Institutional digital library service we are providing again, and also training, awareness building, workshop sessions. This support also we are extensively giving to our clients. NDLI Club, it's a platform where you can conduct different sorts of activities very much aligned with your curriculum, and where you can promote NDLI. So it's a digital platform where this sort of activities can be conducted, and very much aligned with NEP 2020, where the focus is given on activity oriented learning, which means not only the physical classes. Students require something extra, and that extra is activity oriented learning, and here college school can carry out their activities. Okay. And the most important thing is that, as I mentioned, that we are providing this as a service, NDLI Club especially. But the way, it has uh, come up with flying colors. You can see this is the entire demography of India, and where Maharashtra has almost formed 1,400 clubs, and the response from South India, that's overwhelming. We are seriously happy to see the kind of support and kind of response we are getting from South India, and also across other states also. uh, Eventually NDLI clubs are taking up their real shape there. And number of online users session that we have conducted through NDLI club, that is 450. Number of offline workshops 80. International workshops so far we have done 4 plus, and also the national workshops, you can see the figure 5. And idea workshops we had done 32. So this is the overall accomplishment that we have done so far, and these are the accolades, awards that we have received from different platforms in different times, mainly during the time of COVID. The way we have serviced to the society, the kind of service we have given to us stakeholders. And very recently, as you can see, in 2024 we have received Gems of Digital. That's a very prestigious award. The same we received in 2019 also. The overall, what we want to achieve, what we want to accomplish, and what is our objective with this National Digital Library and NDLI Club is to learn, share, and grow together. So this is all about NDLI and NDLI Club in a very brief nutshell. And now, as I was just telling my viewer, that today's event is going to be very exciting. And as you know, those who are following us on a regular basis, you know that we have a moderator. uh, I call him Shujatadi. So it is time to introduce her in the show, and she has been a great support. And let me introduce Shujatadi to my viewer. Just in a very brief, I will just let you know what she has done so far. She has done MSc in physics from this institution, IIT Kharagpur, and then postgraduate in computer science from Indian Statistical Institute, Kolkata, ISI Kolkata, and CQA from Quality Assurance Institute, USA, and spent most of her career in the corporate IT sector. And she has been, associated with IBM for a long time. And when she retired, she was the GM of IBM. So that's a very prestigious post she was with. And then after retirement, she is doing, lots of philanthropic work, and she's with the lots of different sorts of, social activities. And currently she has been the from the I mean, she's associated with Wheels Global Foundation for a long time, and now she's the president of Wheels Global Foundation India. And to be very honest, she is associated with NDLI. It's almost not 8 years, more than that. And that is how she is with us. And Shujatadi, welcome to this show, and now the stage is yours.
Thank you, Manali. More importantly, for the kind introduction. And good afternoon, everyone. I feel really privileged to introduce the speaker for our day, Professor G.D. Yadav. Professor Ganapati D. Yadav, he's a former Vice Chancellor of ICT Mumbai. He's a globally renowned leader in chemical sciences and engineering. He's a Bhatnagar Fellow, Vice President of INSA, and President of the Indian Chemical Society, and is affiliated with top global academies, including the US National Academy of Engineering. Professor Yadav has been ranked among the top 2% scientists worldwide for 6 consecutive years, standing number 1 in India in physical chemistry and within the top 0.2% globally, reflecting his exceptional impact in research and innovation. His contributions have earned him over 150 honors, including the Padma Shri in the year 2016, APJ Abdul Kalam Award in 2023, C.N.R. Rao Award 2024, and Rasayan Maharatna in 2025. Beyond research, Professor Yadav has played influential roles in national policy and industry, serving as chairman of hydrocarbons, member of Niti Aayog committees, and advisor to AICTE, DST, and CSIR. So we really have a very, very esteemed speaker today. And we are all looking forward to listening to you and getting enriched by you over the next hour or so. So, welcome to the session, Professor Yadav.
Yeah, now let me know how I go to my slides. Okay, excellent. Thank you
Okay.
so much. Thank you so much, Sujata Di. I will also call you Di as
Oh
Manali.
gosh.
And
I will give you this. I will give you the background of these, so you can just call me Sujata.
yeah, okay, madam. Thank you
Okay.
very much. I'm going to talk on a very exciting topic from longevity to immortality.
Okay.
How the,
Professor Yadav, sorry for
Hmm.
the interruption. Can I just leave a message for the audience and then hand over to you?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
Yeah,
This is for the audience.
yeah.
See, as we get into the session, you might have some questions. So please put them in the chat box. And then at the end of his speech, Professor Yadav will be answering those questions to you. And
Yeah.
then coming to the topic for the day, as he mentioned, from longevity to immortality, what can science realistically achieve by 2100? The topic for the day really is very interesting and intriguing too. Are we talking about us human beings turning from mortal to being immortal? Is science aiming to achieve this milestone by 2100? I'm sure these kind of questions are also there in your mind. Well, we'll hear from our esteemed speaker his views on this topic and what it really implies. So, Professor Yadav, tell me, when we speak of longevity or even immortality, are we stepping into a fantasy world? Or are we really asking a scientific question? Can the processes that cause aging be understood, slowed, or modified? Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about this very exciting subject because, if you ask the question to anybody in the audience, how long would you like to live? And I can assure you that none of us you would like to die, but that is the natural phenomenon. So I'm going to give you some glimpses about this, what science says and what can be achieved, because something which was not possible 10 years ago has been possible now. We are able to see each and everybody on the screen. Earlier, 20 years ago, it was not possible. So science has advanced beyond our fantasy. So from longevity to immortality, I'm going to tell you something interesting stories. So here you can see that this picture I have deliberately put here. That is, one is the past and another is unknown. So really, can we do something in science where you will be able to achieve this longevity? And what is that longevity? What is the meaning of that? Is it how many years you would like to live and why? So this is something which I got. So how long would you like to live? Is it forever? And if that is the case, will it be fun or boredom? Because sometimes when we live long, some of the people think, oh, why I did not die early. But some people are there, they want to see tomorrow every day. So it is not how long we live, but how well we live. And that is what I'm going to talk to you. And I would like to make it as interesting as possible. So look at this particular slide which I've made. In the year 2100, death will not be a problem. Life will be. That is what I say. So longevity, technology, and the burden of living forever. So you see that in the year 1900, the average age of Indians was 32 years. In 2024, it is 2073 years. And if by 2100, it will be 85 plus. So you imagine what happens when dying is optional and but life is compulsory. That is where fantasy, science fantasy. You will say, how can you say, Professor, this is possible? But I'm going to give you some context to that because I know my audience here is all sorts of people from different disciplines and all. So I have to make it as interesting as possible. So look at this. Today's world is the so-called VUCA world. It is volatile, it is uncertain, it is complex, and it is ambiguous. Nobody imagined 2 months ago whether there would be a war, but now that is a reality. Nobody imagined 2 months ago where LPG shortage would be there, but it is a fact. So, what is jokingly said, the only constant is change. That means we are changing every day. Uka described the world we live in. It is a fast changing world. It is hard to predict and harder to navigate. So, understanding it will help us make better decisions and build a more resilient future. So, I will tell you some interesting facts about this. So, question I asked in the beginning: how long would you like to live? So, as long as life remains an adventure and a gift and a choice, not just forever, but meaningfully, we'd like to live. And just not longer, but we'd like to live a better life. Live with intention today and always. That will be our motto. So somebody would say that it is immortality. Somebody said it will have longevity. And I can assure you, by the year 2100, there will be many more people who will be nonagerians. Some of them will be centurions, and this is going to happen. And remember one thing: the human life designed by the Almighty, you may call, or the natural life is 150 years. We can live 150 years. Unfortunately, we abuse our bodies, and that is why we don't live that. But some people live longer. So, lot of that. So, the question is: would you like to live forever by taking tablets, or doing exercises, or having a disciplined life? This is what is very important. And now there are, all sorts of medicines available where people want to slow down aging, because aging is one of the processes. We like to live younger all the time, so we put all sorts of facial mask and whatnot, maybe makeups and all, because we want to live longer, we want to live younger, we want. Nobody would like to be called aunt or auntie, I'm telling you that. I would not like to be called uncle. Sometimes when somebody calls me grand uncle, I get offended, because I have grandchildren from my sister's side and also so from my own grandchildren. So I would like to tell you, living forever is going to be fun. So look at this life expectancy. These are the UN projection, United Nations. The period life expectancy at birth, this includes the observed life expectancy since 1950 and the medium variant projections for the future. These are based on the UN population division. Literally, we have doubled our life since we, in 1950, what was there. Now we can see that this is showing some interesting facets. Now look at Japan, then Sweden, Brazil, and India. And quite interestingly, in India, the ladies would become grandmothers by the age of 30 in the year 1900. Now, at the age of 30, they won't get married. So, this is the fact, because they used to get married early, then they would have kids, and their kids will also have children. So, 30 years was a grandmother's age. Now, you cannot imagine that. So, life expectancy has increased. We have literally doubled our life. So average life of Indian female was 43 years, Indian male was 38 years in the year 1900. Now you see, we are living beyond 73, 68 years for male and 73 years for female. Now, this is a very interesting lady. This is Jane Calmet. She lived for 122 years. Now, people would ask her, how did you live so long? And she lived very happily. So, we'd like to understand how Jane Calmet lived 122 years, because we want to go back and see how science helped it, or did her genetic makeup was like that. And we'd like to understand her life and go to the next level. So, very interestingly, in our human body, the cells are constantly replaced. So, every minute, every second, they are replaced. So, we are not the same, right? We are different. By the time we age or die, we are different. But still, you are you. That is the most important part. Nobody knows that we are getting replaced every moment we are talking about it. So how is that possible? One of the things to fix your body, that is stem cells, organ replacement, or gene editing. This is all possible because of science. And I'm going to give you some interesting ideas about this. So how do we do that? How do we look at the stem cell? How do you look at the DNA? And how do you look at all other organ replacement? So you know that practically everything can be replaced. Practically everything can be replaced. So do you still remain the same person as you were born, or you become something else? So this is very interesting facet. Now, this is little scientific, but I would not like to go into the science of that. But this is something called telomere shortening. So there is an epigenic drift, there is a cellular sensing. So this is driven by the telomere shortening, epigenic drift, and cellular sensation. So the breakthroughs are some of these interesting ideas are given by the scientist called Yamanaka. And Yamanaka said that yes, stem cell regeneration can be done. There can be drugs which can be used to replace some of the body parts. So this is what it is. This so-called stem cell therapy, you know what is stem cell? Now it is possible. Earlier it was not possible. In 1986, somebody would not have approved it. But this was approved in United States during George Bush's time. Before that, it was not possible. So what it means that we can replace the organ and tissue. We can replace heart, we can replace liver, we can replace kidneys. So this is very interesting. So we can have new disease, we can have new organs, but still we are the same. At the same time, the brain cell can be, the neurons are there, they can be replaced. So many times people have lost their memory. We know Alzheimer and Parkinson's diseases. We know that people are shaking, they are forgetting everything. Can we restore our memory? Is it possible? So these are some of the things. So we can repair them, we can replace them, we can enhance the human body. That means whatever nature had given to us, that we are going to go beyond that. So we have to synthesize something in the laboratory. These are called biocompatible materials. That means if something is replaced in your body, you can certainly, live longer. So these are so-called bionic brains. Okay, that means you have a connection, you can have a memory chip there, and you can certainly so this is so-called AI now. It is today's jamana, today's thing is artificial intelligence. So if artificial intelligence is going to help us in restoring our memory, restoring all other things, or the same stem cell therapy can certainly do changes in suppose somebody has a Parkinson's disease, can stem cell therapy help that person? The answer is yes. So now what it means, organ failure is not death. Organ replacement is possible. This is where, the science takes over fantasy. So we just fantasize so far, and I think we can go beyond this. This is my personal view. Do you have any
Okay.
questions?
Yeah. So what you are saying is it's really not a just a futuristic curiosity, but it's just one of the important scientific and societal activities of the current times.
Yeah.
And as you said, like success may not be measured by how long we live, but maybe how well we remain capable, independent, and engaged, as you said, by maybe organ replacement or brain cells or whatever. So, yes, we don't, so longevity has increased, and maybe whether we can become immortal, we'll come to that later. But tell me something, these ideas, such as biological immortality or full transfer of human consciousness, remain, at least for now, beyond credible scientific pathways. So, can we really draw a line between science and its speculation? Is that possible?
Yeah, good question. You know, something which we think is speculative, science has proved that it is real. So let me look at this. So how do we create these immortal brains? Like we have a computer-aided mind. Can we replicate mind? Can we store our mind on a computer chip or in the computer? Can we do memory enhancement? Can we have a direct brain computer interfaces? And so the very interesting part is neurons. There are 3 billion neurons in human body. So can we replace some of this in there? So that is possible through stem cell regeneration. We can replace the worn out brain cells like we throw away the old clothes and bring new clothes. Can we do that? Can we be youthful and responsive all the time? So this is where the enhancement cognition can be achieved. So, where AI boosted intelligence, smart drugs and neuroenhancers, and higher cognitive abilities. That means we have to have some drugs. And earlier I showed you one picture where I said, if I take drugs, this so-called good kind of drug, not those bad kind of drug, can I increase my life? And will biotechnology and AI merge with the human mind? This is one of the questions what Sujata ji said. So this is where brain per machine, can we copy the mind? Now this is another interesting facet, right? Can we copy the mind? Can we say that? So there is in another part. This is called digital immortality. Will we live forever in the digital realm? Technology is moving from preserving data about us to creating digital versions of us. So, but can data become you? If I replace, can you become data? So this will fascinate them because uploading memories from photos and videos to thoughts and experiences, could we one day upload our memories into a machine? And you suppose I want to recollect my childhood, can I do that? Because many times we forget what we did even yesterday. But can we do that? So the AI versions of people, their AI trained on your data can mimic your voice, style and preferences and personality. A digital you that can talk, learn, and evolve. Now, we know that already some of these things are happening because they say this is AI generated image, AI generated video. But can we do it for ourselves? This is where consciousness against the data must be seen. Your data can be copied, but are you the same person? Is consciousness just information processing, or is there something more, a spark that machines can never have? This is very interesting. Okay, so let us understand this further. So supposing I look at the AI, so machine learning finds the pattern in your data, whatever data you have. And the natural language processing, they replicate the way you communicate. And the generative AI, which is talked a lot these days, creates content in your style. And the so-called digital twins, this is another thing which is being discussed everywhere, simulates behavior and decisions. So AI can learn from everything you leave behind, messages, emails, posts, voices, choices, even brain activity. So if that is the case, it can simulate you, but is it that you? This is the question. Is it that you when it is simulated? Because we know simulation is a virtual thing. Okay, so we can have very important question. You can create a copy, but it is not original. A
Original.
copy can remember your stories, answer like you, look and sound like you, keep learning, feel real to others, but only you have the first person experience. You will feel emotions, you will make choices from within, you will have continuous self, and you are the original. A copy can be perfect, but it will still a copy. The original is always you. So the ultimate question is, if digital self thinks, remembers, and interacts just like you, can it be you? That is the question. Okay. So the possibility of the journey to digital immortality. One is data collection. We generate data every second. Our digital footprint never disappears. The second is, which is very common in computer science, is so-called pattern recognition or pattern learning. AI will learn your patterns, how you speak, how you decide, and create and react. And the digital replica, this is the digital version of you, is created an interactive dynamic. Technology may give you a digital forever, but meaning, connection, and consciousness, these remain the deepest mysteries. We have still not understood, you know. So a continuous evolution, it keeps on learning from the new data and updates itself. Beyond that, the body, this replica outlive your body by decades, centuries, forever. And the ultimate question is, if digital self thinks, remembers, and interacts just like you, will it be you? This is very, very important. The future is not just about living forever, but about staying truly human. That is very, very important.
Right. I think that is the main message that we should all have. It's just not good to have a long life, but we have to stay truly human in spite. And what you rightly said, the digital replica of mine, it can replicate me, it can make a copy of mine, but it will not have the emotions, it will not have the consciousness, it will not have the connections that I have as the original person. So, with this background, and I'm just thinking of a message that we can provide to our audience in here. So, what can we actually say? What do we mean by a longer life? A longer life may not be automatically a better life, right? It
Yeah.
it can give you more opportunity, more responsibility, and as you said right at the beginning, is it going to be fun or is it going to be boredom? So, what do we actually, or what would you define a longer life to be that we should look for instead of just becoming immortal or never dying? So, over to you on that.
Thank you. Thank you. So I tell you, one of the things is, I will tell you something about medicine. If we want to get, predict and prevent diseases before it starts. So AI can help us. It can decode your DNA, the so-called DNA sequencing. It can do to genetic analysis, and then the predictive and targeted medicine. For example, one of my friends from Germany, he said that he did his DNA sequencing about 15 years ago, and he was told that he's likely to be blind after 5 years. So he took, medicines, and he avoided that. So this is possible. That means predict and prevent disease before it starts. For example, suppose somebody is going to get cancer, there are indications of that. Okay. So it is continuous health tracking is possible. AI powered risk assessment is possible, and we can have personalized health plan. So early detection of disease, precise drug therapies, and customized things, that is what is going to happen. So now what is the meaning of that? Is the predictive power of genetics a double-edged sword? So this one I will answer in this. For example, in the year 2100, longer life, yes, because I already mentioned that we will be living beyond 100 years, at least few percent of people, maybe 10%. Better health, yes, but immortality, no. That is not what we want. What we want is the following. So, supposing you had more time, what would you do with that time? For example, supposing you are a cricketer, would you go and become somebody else? Okay, what do you do? So there are the possibilities. Living forever could be incredible or overwhelming. It depends on what forever looks like. And here are some of these predictions. So we can have AI guided births, we can have AI doctors and nurses, we can have AI for mental health, we can have AI assisted end of life.
End of life.
So interestingly, endless life, but at what cost? What will you do with this endless life? So this is another interesting concept. So tomorrow's health revolution will be anti-cancer treatment. So you avoided anti-cancer, the cancer you avoided. Then you have anti-aging drugs. So you do not age at all because that means some cells are dying, new cells are born, and at the same time nervous system disorders. And ultimately, like for example, you go to a doctor, he will give you some prescription, but the same, he said take one tablet, half tablet. Now we will have precise so-called designers drugs. Okay, designer drug. That means whatever your body needs, only that much will be given at the pharmacy. You will not go and have something of the shelf. So, are we engineering nature or ourselves? Are we trying to play God? So, this is another question. So, for example, in the year 2100, death is conquered, but quality of life, endless treatments, AI boosted bodies, manipulated genetics, choosing when to die, because that is also one problem. Then erosion of ethics and morality, population disruption and drift, virtual escape from reality and AI driven uncertainty. Humans might live forever, but what kind of life? The challenge of 2100, not survival, but purpose, restraint, and wisdom. Okay, so what will be the new radical society? We will redefine relationships, virtual friends and lovers, two fathers for one baby. In fact, this has happened very recently. Unlimited digital avatars and designer baby. And erosion of morality, yes, virtual reality and hyper stimulation rather, blurred family structures, unlimited pleasures. But what will happen? The global fragmentation. We will redefine borders. We'll define resource competition, population control, AI-driven conflicts, the ethics and humanity in a world of tech-enhanced reality. That is going to be a very, very radically different society. We may have breakthroughs for longer and healthier lives, but we may not be happy. That is what is going to happen. So, what are the potential upsides? Unlimited time to learn, create, and explore, deepen relationship across generations, solve big problems and leave a legacy, or experience the future of humanity. That is the potential upside. But what is the downside? Risk of losing loved ones over and over again. Changes in society, technology, and values. Most important thing will be the values. Mental or emotional fatigue without purpose, and existential loneliness or meaning crisis. This is happening even now. A lot of people are lonely. They have only virtual friends. They all the time they are glued to the mobile phone. So what it means? Is it fun or boredom? A long life is not as good as what you do with it, but how you grow. So constant curiosity and learning, we can definitely, it can be fun. There could be new challenges and adventures. There could be meaningful work or missions. There could be strong connections and community. There is a freedom, variety, and creativity. But what is the downside? Downside is repetition and lack of challenge, loss of purpose or direction, isolation and weak relationship, a world that stops evolving, doing the same thing forever, forever, forever. This is what is going to happen. So ultimately, in the year 2100, death may longer scare us, but living forever without meaning just might do that. Okay, that is what is going to happen. And so when death is optional, what gives life meaning? Choose when to die, decide when to pass on until they live life. And then the next is freeze bodies cryogenically, preserve the body in the frozen state. And this has happened actually. Michael Jackson had signed a contract with a company in London that his body should be stored in frozen conditions and he will get up after 150 years. It did not happen though, but this is a reality. And so you live multiple lives in one lifetime. So the what it means is not survival, but the purpose, restraint, and wisdom. And next is what happened. Okay, so this. I'm going to say something philosophical at the end. This is in Bhagavad Gita. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, nata chedayan vedayantya puna shoshayati muruta. The soul is indestructible. It cannot be destroyed by weapons, fire, water, and wind. So, if the soul is indestructible, if we replace all our body parts one by one, That means we are going from one natural body to another artificial body. So this is a very interesting thought, and I believe that is where I would like to stop. And if there are any questions, I would like to answer those questions.
Excellent, Dr. Yadav. That was, and my learning from takeaway from this is, so a longer life is not automatically a better life. It simply gives you more opportunity and more responsibility. But longevity without a purpose can become a burden, right? But
Yes,
longevity with purpose becomes a remarkable opportunity. See, it's up to us to decide what to do, what we decide to do, and how long we want to live. Live a life fully, in terms of giving back to the society and making a full life. So thank you so very much, Professor Yadav, for that very enriching session and with a lot of thoughts in it. We hear of AI all over. We hear of organ replacements. Now, how much of that is really relevant? How much is, is of use? We have to take a decision, conscious decision, and they only go for it. So thank you very much, and I'll now give it back to Manali.
thank you.
Really, Professor Yadav, the session was really thoughtful, and then I really got lost that longevity may be better, but will the life be more meaningful,
Yeah.
empathetic? That is what we want to have at the end of the day. I mean, right? What mark we will leave behind, that matters at the end of everything.
Yes,
So
yes.
now it is our very, this time we take the questions from our viewer. So already I can see one question on the screen. What are the back brain muscles for the balancing of human body?
Whatever we think, sometimes we think there is a pain in the toe. The pain is not in the toe; it is there in the brain. So the brain, that neurons are there transmitting the signals very fast to the brain, and the brain takes the action. So even when you talk of back brain muscles, that is actually the instructions are given by the brain for the muscles to balance the human body or not.
And then our next question, uh, that is Jayashree, and she's from Assam. She has written, "How do we address the moral dilemma of multiple versions of the same consciousness existing simultaneously?"
No, I do not know what you mean. Do you mean that split personality, or what is that? Are you going to two different worlds at the same time? So during daytime, we say that you dream during daytime, so that your dreams will be realized. But you are asking me about the dilemma of multiple versions of the same consciousness. Now, I define consciousness earlier. Consciousness is in the brain itself. Okay. So you have one consciousness at a time, not two consciousness. It is always one consciousness. Maybe you change from one consciousness to another, and that is the split of the second rather, and you think that it is, simultaneously existing. So that may be a issue related to, split personality.
And Professor Yadav, just I just want to ask you from this question. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, with the time, our consciousness that is also getting very complex. So, what is this sort of problem we may face in coming years?
Yeah, actually, no. In future, going to happen. This is a prediction. No prediction has ever gone right. I must tell you that.
100%.
Yeah, not nobody has had predicted future 25 years ago, and even 5 years ago, even 1 month ago. So predictions are based on many things, and particularly in the geopolitics. That is why in the very first slide I talked about VUCA world. It is an uncertain world. So we don't know what is going to happen after 5 years or 10 years. But what should be important is that, are you Is your cognitive ability still remaining the same? Are you able to take decisions which are good for you? Because what is the purpose of life? The purpose of life is to remain healthy and also enjoy that life. Whatever you have, how long you live is not important. How well you live is important. And
Yes.
that is what is that.
Yes. So let me see if we have any other questions in hand. So no, these were two most relevant questions that we found out from the list. And now I just like to let the audience know that Sujata Di will uh, let you all know about Wills Global Foundation. As I mentioned at the very beginning, that the session we do, the conversation here we do in this platform, that always happens with in association with Wills Global Foundation. So now Sujata Di will enlighten us on its, the kind of function this organization is doing and what's the purpose of this Wills Global Foundation.
Okay.
Sujata Di.
Yeah, thank you, Manali. Yeah, as Manali just mentioned, this session is actually organized by NDLI in collaboration with Wheels Global Foundation. Wheels is actually an initiative created by the alumni of all the IITs. Actually, this the whole thing came up in response to a challenge thrown by our Israel President Dr. Abdul Kalam, when in a Pan IIT conference in 2006, he had said that you IITians, you've done so well for yourself. Now, why don't you do something to solve the problems of rural India? And that is when the IIT, in the alumni of all the IITs, they came together and formed this Wings Global Foundation. That was back in 2006. Since we are now in 2026, we have come a long way from there. And now it's not just IIT alumni, but we have doctors, we have lawyers, we have other professionals in the family who look after, who work together in uh, meeting the objectives of Wheels Global. So, what is the objective of Wheels? Wheels actually stands for water, health, education, energy, livelihood, and sustainability. Basically, all the factors that touch our life. And our objective is to take up issues in each of these areas and solve them by applying technology, because that is the strength of IITians. So it is a technology enabled philanthropy that we say that we do. And we are all volunteers here. It's just that we are trying to do any small bit that we can for giving back to the society. And now we have set a target for ourselves that by the year 2030, we will be we should be able to touch the lives of at least 20% of urban Indians, rural and semi-urban Indians, for in their lives by the year 2030. And I'm sure we will be able to do that in the way we are working and with the support of all of you. So that is what we are, that is where we work. And if anybody is interested in volunteering, you're more than welcome to join us and let us know, and we'll be happy to have you with us working. With that, I hand it over back to Manali.
Thank you, Sujata Di, and thank you, Professor Yadav. I know you were really busy, and having a session with you was a really a tedious, work. And then we all tried to, come to the same platform on the same time, along with your schedule. Even today, you had also a very important meeting, but
Actually, I'll tell
this,
you, I'm sitting in Godrej, the picture you see behind the Godrej family.
I
Ah,
see.
okay.
You are going to have some, another call just very in a very short time. So thank you so much, Professor Yadav, for giving us this time, and thank you for this thoughtful and enriching session. And Sujata, thank you so much for coordinating the entire session along with us. And last but not the least, my dear viewers, thank you. For a regular viewer in this platform, and next month again we will see you with another exciting session from the same platform. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Manali. It was a pleasure for me also to be here with you on this session.
Thank
My
you so
pleasure.
much. My
Thank
pleasure.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.